Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video in Arabic Essential Topics. My name is Mustafa Nasser and you're watching Arabic for Nuns. Today we are talking about sentences in Arabic. First, we will introduce the concept of useful sentence, then the types of sentences in Arabic, and lastly we will focus on nominal sentences. Before we dive in, support me and subscribe my channel, activate the bell and like the video. The PDF slides of this lesson is available in the video description below as always. Before getting into types of sentences, I would like to introduce the concept of the useful sentence, الجملة المفيدة. For a sentence to be useful, there are two requirements. To have a composition of words, which means two words or two articulations at least. Why? Because a single word is not enough to express a meaning. And second, to give out a meaning. So, if we have a composition of words but it is not given a meaning, we cannot consider it as a useful sentence. So, a useful sentence has two words or above and a meaning. In Arabic, we have two types of sentences, or more specifically, useful sentences. First, nominal sentence, الجملة الاسمية, and second, verbal sentence, الجملة الفعلية. A nominal sentence has two main parts. The subject, المبتدأ, and the predicate, الخبر. On the other hand, a verbal sentence has three parts. Two of them are necessary for every verbal sentence. The verb, of course, الفعل, and the subject, الفاعل. The third part is not necessary for every verbal sentence. The object, المفعول به. Some verbs are satisfied with the subject only, and other verbs need an object. The main difference between nominal and verbal sentences in Arabic is the first word. A nominal sentence begins with a noun. That's why we call it nominal in the first place. And a verbal sentence begins with a verb, obviously. There is a third combination that we cannot consider as a sentence. We said there are two requirements for a sentence: to have at least two words and second, to have a meaning. Some combinations acquire the first condition but not the second one, which we call a quasi-sentence, شبه الجملة. It shows up in two shapes: a proposition plus a noun, جار ومجرور, or an adverb plus a noun, like في الفصل, in the class. Here we see two words, but there is no complete meaning. Also, فوق الكرسي, above the chair. Again, we see one condition is satisfied, but still there is no complete meaning. So this type of combination, we cannot consider them as a sentence. Instead, it's a quasi-sentence. Today, I want to talk about nominal sentences in specific. A nominal sentence, الجملة الاسمية, is a sentence that begins with a noun. And it has two main parts or components: the subject, المبتدأ, and the predicate, الخبر. Both of them must agree in number and gender, and both of them are in nominative case, حالة الرفع, or مرفوع. Let me define each one of them separately. The subject, or المبتدأ, is a noun that we start the sentence with. It's always a noun and it's always definite, except in some cases in which it will show up indefinite. In addition of that, all nominal sentences will be built upon this noun. It is a core subject of a nominal sentence. Let's see the other component, the predicate, الخبر. First, this word الخبر means the news or the information because it's given us information about the subject, المبتدأ. We can define the predicate as whatever makes the meaning complete. So without it, there is no meaning. It has many forms, not only the noun form like the subject. That's why I said whatever completes the meaning. Predicate has three main features. First, it makes the meaning of the nominal sentence complete. Second, it gives out information or description about the subject. And third, it comes in many forms. It could be a single word, it could be a complete sentence, and it could be a quasi-sentence, as we will see in this lesson. Let's see the simplest way to build a nominal sentence. A definite noun plus an indefinite one. That's it. The definite noun represents the subject, المبتدأ, and it could be any type of definite nouns. And the indefinite noun represents the predicate, الخبر. The subject could be a proper noun like محمد مجتهد. Muhammad is diligent. فاطمة مجتهدة. Fatima is diligent. As we mentioned, the predicate is following the subject in number and gender. That's why we added تاء مربوطة here to make it feminine. القاهرة جميلة. Cairo city is beautiful. روسيا باردة. Russia is cold. In all these examples, the subject is a proper noun. The subject also could be a personal pronoun because pronouns are definite by default, as we know. هو معلم. He is a teacher. أنتم مجتهدون. You are diligent. أنا معلم. I am a teacher. It could also be a demonstrative noun. هاتان طبيبتان. These are two female doctors. هذا كتاب. This is a book. هذه قطة. This is a cat. The subject could be definite by the definite article as well. المعلم موجود. The teacher is present. الفتيات جميلات. The girls are beautiful. Or الكتابان جديدان. The two books are new. And lastly, the subject could be definite by addition. معرف بالإضافة. Like كتابي جديد. My book is new. The word كتابي is definite because we added a possessive pronoun. باب الفصل مكسور. The class door is broken. Again, the word باب is definite by adding الفصل after. One important point you need to know: predicate is not always coming after subject, which means they may have words in between based on the construction of the sentence. Like this example we saw, باب الفصل مكسور. The first word, باب, is the subject, and مكسور is the predicate. This word in between is complement. So we can see some words between the subject and predicate. They are not necessarily in series, and in many cases we can see many words in between. But in this case, how can we identify the predicate? Let's look at this example. ممارسة الرياضة كل يوم مفيد. Practicing sport every day is useful. Let me ask some basic questions. What is the type of this sentence? The answer is nominal. How could we tell? Because it begins with a noun, ممارسة. So this noun is the subject, المبتدأ. But wait a minute. You said المبتدأ must be definite when it comes in the beginning of the sentence. Yes, this noun ممارسة is definite by addition. ممارسة الرياضة. What about the predicate? Which one of these words is a predicate? From its definition, the predicate is describing the subject, and in the same time, it completes the meaning of the sentence. So, it's going to be the last word, مفيد, useful. It's describing practicing sport as useful, and it also completes the meaning. Try to remove it from the sentence and see. ممارسة الرياضة كل يوم. Practicing sport every day is what? The meaning is not complete. But if we say is useful, مفيد. Now we understand. And one final point. Both subject and predicate have ضمة as case ending because we said that both of them are in nominative case. And the default label for nominative case is ضمة as long as we are talking about singular. Can you answer this common question? Why do we see a single ضمة at ممارسة and double ضمة at مفيد? If you know the answer, type it in the comments below the video. So, nominal sentences could have other words other than subject and predicate. Let's now study the different types of the predicate, الخبر. So far, we have seen the predicate as singular, مفرد, single word I mean. But predicate can show up in different shapes. It can be a single word, and in this case, it's indefinite. It can be a sentence, جملة, both types of sentences, nominal sentence predicate or verbal sentence predicate. And also it can be a quasi-sentence, شبه جملة, in both its shapes, a preposition and a noun, or an adverb and a noun. Let's check these examples. البنت شعرها طويل. The girl, her hair is tall. البيت شكله جميل. The house, its shape is beautiful. In these two examples, the predicate is different. We said predicate is giving us information about the subject. Here, in the first example, the information given is in form of a complete sentence. شعرها طويل. Her hair is tall. So, this whole sentence is the predicate, الخبر, because the whole sentence is giving information about the subject, البنت, the girl. And its type is a nominal sentence because it begins with a noun. In this type of predicate, there is always a pronoun in the predicate that refers to the subject. Here it is ها. A possessive pronoun means her. Let me analyze this combination. I will begin from the first word, البنت. This is the subject, المبتدأ, and we call it مبتدأ أول, first subject. Then the second word, شعرها, is a second subject, مبتدأ ثاني, for this sentence. So practically we have two nominal sentences, one inside the other. The third word, طويل, is the predicate of the second subject, and its type is singular because it's a single word. Lastly, this whole sentence is the predicate of the first subject, and its type is nominal sentence predicate. So we have two nominal sentences, and therefore we have two subjects and two predicates. البنت and شعرها are the two subjects. طويل and شعرها طويل are the two predicates. The same thing is going with the second example. البيت شكله جميل. The house, its shape is beautiful. البيت, the house, is a first subject, مبتدأ أول. شكله is a second subject, مبتدأ ثاني. How did we know Because there is a possessive pronoun that refers to the first subject. Then جميل is the predicate of the second subject. خبر المبتدأ الثاني. And lastly, the whole nominal sentence شكله جميل is the predicate of the first subject, البيت. Let's see the second type of sentence predicate. المعلم يشرح الدرس. The teacher is explaining the lesson or explains the lesson. This sentence is nominal, جملة اسمية. Why? Because it begins with a noun, المعلم. So this word is the subject, المبتدأ. After that, we see a verb, يشرح, which is telling us that we begin a verbal sentence that contains a verb, a subject, and an object. The verb is يشرح. The subject is a hidden pronoun. We will understand what does it mean in the next lesson. And the object is الدرس. But where is the predicate of this nominal sentence? It is the whole verbal sentence يشرح الدرس, as it's giving us information about the teacher, المعلم. An additional point for you. If you have a nominal sentence like this, you can easily convert it to a verbal sentence by exchanging positions between the verb and the subject. Here it becomes a verbal sentence, as it begins now with a verb. And despite both of them have the same exact meaning, even if you try and type them in Google Translate, it will give you the same translation. The teacher explains the lesson. But the construction in Arabic is different. In the first one, the nominal sentence المعلم is the subject, المبتدأ, and يشرح الدرس is the predicate, الخبر. But in the second one, the verbal sentence يشرح is the verb, الفعل, المعلم is the subject of the verb, الفاعل, and الدرس is the object, المفعول به. So far, we have seen the predicate as a sentence, whether it's a nominal sentence or a verbal one. Now let's see the last type of predicate, a quasi-sentence, شبه جملة. Observe these examples. المعلم في الفصل. The teacher is in the class. القط فوق الكرسي. The cat is on the chair. In these two examples, the sentences are nominal. Why? Because they begin with nouns. And also the meaning of both sentences are complete, because we understand the point, which means the predicate الخبر exists. As we know, the predicate completes the meaning of the nominal sentence. But where is the predicate here? Is it في, in, or الفصل, the class? If you want to make sure, try to remove الفصل. So it will be المعلم في. The teacher is in. Is the meaning complete? No. What about removing في and keeping الفصل? المعلم الفصل. The teacher, the class. It still doesn't make sense. So the meaning is not complete unless both words exist. في الفصل. المعلم, the teacher, what about him? Is in the class. Okay, now I understand. So the quasi-sentence في الفصل is the predicate of the subject. Similarly, in the second example, the meaning is not complete unless these two words are there. So the quasi-sentence فوق الكرسي, on the chair, is the predicate of the subject. In the first example, the predicate is a quasi-sentence of a preposition and a noun. And in the second one, it's a quasi-sentence of an adverb and a noun. Let's summarize what we covered so far. A nominal sentence contains two components, a subject, مبتدأ, and a predicate, خبر. The subject in most cases comes first, and it's mostly definite. On the other hand, the predicate could be single indefinite noun. It could be a complete nominal sentence with one condition, to have a pronoun that refers to the first subject. It could also be a verbal sentence, or it could be a quasi-sentence in its two types. I will stop here for now, but we have not yet concluded our discussion about nominal sentences. In the next lesson, I will begin by giving you some examples and exercises about nominal sentences, and then I will also explain all about verbal sentences. Don't forget to subscribe my channel, activate the bell, and like the video. And you will also find the PDF of this lesson in the video description below. See you in the next lesson.